can stay right there. You stay right there. All right. Hey, Brett here, Paradox Diaries. I'm going to start shaking. Okay, I know I look like an idiot. Let me tell you my actual lived experience because I think it might be worth noticing or noting. When I shake, I can feel my body calm down. Now, what that actually means is my body is consuming less ATP. So if you think about it, you can either make your car more fuel efficient or you can give it more power. Now, I'm not saying either or, I'm doing both. But if I reduce the noise in my body through shaking, it actually causes my body to need less energy. It allows it to store energy. And also it allows me to sort of sense what's going on in my body. So for example, tonight, I've been sort of in a fairly calm mood, doing some breath work. And Kitty, you're turning on to me. Hey, buddy. and what I'm noticing is that I'm getting a lot of sort of just gentle tingles. And this is, for example, one of the things I've been doing is I've been reading some stuff with a lot of words that I don't use very often, and that forces your brain to kind of like mix it up. And so it basically flushes the cache and it looks for deeper words. And as a result of that, you can feel that if your nervous system is turned down. So, I used to really be disgusted with, what is it called? Subtle energies. But really, it's not that they're subtle. They're what they mean by what I'm now interpreting as subtle energies is there are underlying processes that are always going on. The signals are always there, but they're lost in the noise of being in your sympathetic system. Tight chest, breathing in your chest, being nervous, and so on. And I've already mentioned this before, but so lately I've been doing a lot of this parasympathetic work, and observationally, my inner critic, I don't want to say my inner critic's not gone. There's no question, but I haven't had hardly any experience in weeks. And I think what that is I turn down my nervous system so that when my body wants to send signals to me, like for example, you may not realize this, but your body sends signals to you. Your gut biome affects your appetite. And I've lived this experience, but the research is there. So your body's trying to send signals to you. How can it do it if there's a lot of noise? It has to use strong signals. And since we have a bias towards survival, those strong signals are going to be fear, anger, hate. And so your inner critic is just your inner brain trying to get your outer brain, which is gabbing on some crazy thing based on, I don't know, you're being sold some shit, and it can't get through the noise. So it has to just find something to get through the noise. And so it finds something, and the something is negative, not because it's trying to be mad at you, but because it's an energy thing. If you're here, it can't use a signal that's down here. Yeah. So, and the signals that are up here are you were really pissed off something or something like that, or you were conned out or something. And so if you turn down your nervous system through practice over time, as you do that, you'll have more body reserve, energy reserve, and you'll also have a weaker inner critic. And then you can start to sense your body. And I bring this all up because I have a spot on my back. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on you. Are you okay? Yeah, okay. I have a spot on my back. And it's from when I fell off a train bridge. I fell 17 feet off a train bridge, landed on my back, and it just fused my back. And that was in 1983. And tonight, as I was breathing and sort of relaxing, I noticed some stimulation in the back of my head, and then it started going down my neck. And I did a little research, and that's basically, it's sort of like the brain is sending out probes. Are you there? Because that part of my back has been so locked and closed. Basically, it's a closed system that doesn't allow transfer of energy because it's basically cemented, right? I fell down, my nervous system created, it created a structural trauma or some body armor or what was that? Chronic bridge, et cetera, et cetera. So it basically locked up and it closed it off for protection, right? So basically I've got this part of my back that's taking in as energy, but it's not really allowing it to go beyond. And as a result of that, so when we talk about blocked chi, it's a literal thing. I've got crushed nerves in my back, and it just doesn't allow effective electrical flow. and I'm slowly repairing it. Now, it's been years, literally years. And it's been about 4 years. And one thing that seems to be accelerating it is this practice. And it's because it's sort of a generic thing. So here's a theory. When I fell, I hit my back really hard. All right, so Newton's second law. If I wanted to reverse the damage, I would take that kind of pressure and go the opposite direction. If I did that, it would rip out my chest, right? I would explode. And so since I cannot go opposite force, so that's a really big yang thing, the ultimate yin is either nothing or noise. And so basically I'm just gently putting noise, and that noise is kind of like it's like a oxygen cleaner, right? The bubbles hit the edge, the noise, the shakes, that bubbles hit the edge of that region that's locked, and slowly over time it loosens it up. And also, as I've already mentioned, shaking can get into my deep hips. I'm loosening my hips right now. And I know this because when I start a stretch, especially a hip stretch, it's a long time, 90 seconds before my legs start to actually, I can feel the muscle fibers, the sarcomeres relax. If I shake, it's 15, 20 seconds, maybe 30. I've been saying 30 seconds, but it's faster than that. So this stuff is crazy. Shaking. Now, the problem is it's got a lot of problems. One, you have to do it, right? And two, the only reason I'm really talking here, actually, there's two reasons I'm talking that I'm aware of. There's probably more. Reason one is I'm processing stuff. So by going through all this stuff, I'm going through and walking through memories in my brain. And since my brain's been restructuring itself, that gives it a reason to sort of hit those areas of the brain. So I'm basically just sweeping the brain and compressing, sweeping the brain and compressing. And as I do that, I'm using less ATP, less energy, and I feel like I'm calmer and less reactive. And it's great. It's a great place to be. It's not that I can't be spazzy. I absolutely can still be endured, still be spazzy, play video. Nothing changes other than opportunity. I can be the same asshole I always can be. That's no different. So all the potential that I had has been augmented with more potential. So now, actually, I'm going to tell a story. I don't think I've ever told this story. True story. My wife and I, before we were married, we were at a Christmas party. This is during the first Iraq War. And you can imagine I'm kind of a pacifist, but whatever, it doesn't matter. But one of the people at the party, it's a Christmas party, I'm wearing a tux. That's an important piece of the puzzle. I'm wearing a tux. And this guy asks these exceptionally leading questions like, well, don't you think America should go in and teach them about democracy? I mean, that kind of question. And I was like, no. And it was just, after about the third condescending question, in my head, I went through the following process. Now, this person was drunk, so I had a lot of time to think. So I can take him out. I'm sorry, I've jumped ahead. I decided that I was going to moon him. Yeah, now I want to be clear. I was not drinking, all right? I was sober. And it was over a multi-second period. So I was fully making a conscious choice. I stood up. The reason I mentioned the tux is button, zipper. Whoosh, it took more effort. So it wasn't just like a quick, I had to actually make the decision. And I slowly stood up. I undid my pants. I slowly did. So it was deliberate. It was not in anger. It was, at the time frame, I was actually actively working with a model by Jerry Weinberg, MOI model from his Becoming a Technical Leader, Motivation, Organization, Innovation. In his actual classes, PSL, he added a fourth, a jiggle, a noise, right? And it turns out for some reason, I've always been drawn to that specific part of the model. Sure, motivation, organization, innovation, fine, you can do those things. But that's just the way I approach things. What I tend to do is I tend to sort of go here, there, and then as I sort of get the lay of the land, then I can hone in. So I tend to like to look at, so I either go way deep or I go overview. And actually, really, I alternate between those views. And so the jiggle is me. Now, here's the thing. Maybe I'm into the jiggle because my body knew that's what it's going to take to fix it. And so my body just noticed the characteristic and it said, that's good. Maybe, doesn't matter. I got to here. And this is working. So that's all it means. That's all that really matters. Okay, at this point, let's say my shoulders are feeling nice and loose, specifically my rotator cuffs. Notice I've got my hands just drooling are drooping so that I'm getting some good action there. I'm sort of change it up a little bit here. Okay, now I'm really getting into the hips. I'm going to open up my hip flexors a little bit. And when I do that, I actually notice it I don't know if I'm actually doing it, but it feels like I'm doing this, except I'm doing it rapidly. And so I'm getting a little side to side as well. All right, now I'm watching a computer down here, about 11 minutes, is that right? Yeah, about 10 minutes, about 11 minutes. My heart rate variability is hovering at 46. My pulse is currently 106, 105. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so tonight I'm gonna go ahead and start stretching. I'm gonna go through the shoulder sequence. And the reason I'm going through the shoulder sequence is since my brain and my electrical nervous system is sending stuff down here, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to assist it. I'm gonna give a little pressure. So basically, the conscious Brett, I'm gonna attack it by putting myself into slight discomfort. The brain is gonna come from the other end, so we're gonna work on it together. Now I'm trying to think, what do I wanna do first? This? I'm sensing where that's going. Okay, that's the pose. Okay, so this is what I just did in my head. I'm gonna do 3 poses. Whichever pose I do the third is gonna be the deepest one. Let me think. I'm doing a sort of a, nope, okay. I just picked the order. So I'm gonna do 3 poses. The first pose, I've just decided, is going to be wide dog. Wide dog's get my trapezius muscles. It's gonna really allow me to drop my chest. So it's going to basically do this slowly. Then I'm going to do pretzel arms. I'm going to pull my shoulders apart. So I'm going to cross my arms and put some pressure on them. And it actually pulls, you can see, it pulls the shoulders apart. And then the last one's on the wall. I'm going to hang on the wall. And that's going to first arch, arch, arch. And then as I warm up, it's going to open my trapezius muscles. And actually it's going to do something like that, except that I'm going to keep my arms in place. And so I'm going to attack the hell out of my shoulders. This is a great, great sequence if you hunch over, if you use your phone a lot. And also, of all the poses in the Science of Stretching pose, the last one I'm going to do is the only pose where I've had some kind of mental release. Like, I was holding on to something, and the letting go of that was like it just kind of did something like it just made I got buzzed, basically. So this is one of those more intense poses in the set. All right, so I'm going to get my trusty chair here. I'm going to actually lock this thing down. All right. Let's see how I'm going to do this with Chesh. I'll do it like this. Now, I want my clock, timer. Okay, I'm going to show you something here. I've got this computer here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this or not. So this is an ongoing graph. This is my heart rate variability. That's my heart rate. And I'm taking detailed data. And then what I'm going to do after this is I'm going to click this now from shaking. I'm going to go over to deep flexibility. What I'm going to do now with this, I'll take this data and I'll upload it into an AI, and it's going to analyze it, and it's going to be able to correlate or correspond what my heart rate variability is doing while I'm doing, in this case, shaking, and then I'm going to go into stretch. So over time, I'm getting a huge database of what does what to what, heart rate variability wise. And again, heart rate variability is a great general measure. It's basically a whole sort of system measurement of resiliency and responsiveness. And so I could spend $10,000 to measure astrocytic calcium fluctuation in the brain and find out, oh yeah, I've got an A2 expression, huzzah, who cares? I don't care about that specific detail. I care that I sleep for 6 hours. Anyway, I keep saying the same thing over and over again, so I'll just get into the stretch. I'm gonna shut up and stretch. Aha, that reminds me of something, but I'm not gonna say it. Okay, so for this pose, I'm gonna basically have my feet spread wide. I'm going to take off my socks because my feet slide. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go ahead and bite the bullet. Here's the thing. I'm talking to myself. Really, the purpose of this is for me to process things. And by doing this, I work out longer. And so I don't have an audience, and that's fine. Because, and here's why it's important. If you've ever heard of rubber ducking, I'm rubber ducking right now. And what that means is I'm, in addition to physically doing something, I'm processing things through my verbal cortex, if that's what it's called, verbal center, verbal processing. Hey, kitty, I'm going to move this here, okay? And so by doing that, I'm actually getting multimodal experience integration. So I'm actually deepening the experience by doing that. And by actively going through things, since I've recently been able to sort of remodel my meta models of models in my mind, the brain takes weeks, months, years to go through the entire neural net to do a restructuring. And so by processing things and just having different visual stimuli or reading, say, having an AI reflect back to me similar things with different words and different domains allows my brain to sort of go through and reprocess things. Okay, here we go. Wide dog. Let's go back to reality. Okay, I'm using a mat here so my feet don't slide. And there are two ways to do this. Well, there's several ways to do it, but elevated or not elevated. I do it elevated because I can get deeper into my shoulders. My target is right exactly where the tightness in my back is. So 5 minutes. Here we go. Okay, I'm gonna, ooh, right there, I'm already on it. Ooh, wow. Okay, I was just about to say that shaking tends to loosen the hips more than, say, other parts of the body. Well, I'll tell you what, it definitely loosens the part of my body I'm stretching right now. Actually, I've lost it a little bit. So the stretch is a little bit too high on my spine. I'm going to bend my legs, slightly arch, like tip my hip back, and there, I've repositioned it. Now, on this pose, even if I've got my legs bent, I'm getting a hamstring stretch. It gets more into the muscle belly. And if you keep doing this pose and you have your legs bent like this, you're burning a good amount of calories because you're keeping some of the biggest muscles in your body engaged. So over time, what you'll find is your leg will shake and then they'll eventually not shake. And when they don't shake, you'll find that you have far better stamina. And what you're really doing is you're getting your muscle fibers to work more efficiently together. You're basically a power builder through flexibility. Now, you don't want to just do flexibility. I generally don't do any kind of actual resistance training, but I have 102 dogs that weigh 150 pounds, and that counts because I walk them. I do housework that counts. I pick up stuff, walk up and down stairs in my house. I do yard work. Yard work counts as high intensity interval training. It doesn't have the same timings, but it has the same effect in terms of epigenetic expression over time and efficiency of energy utilization. Oh yeah, this is hitting right where it needs to hit. Oh. Okay, I'm tipping my head back a little bit to move the top of the stretch area, maybe, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch. 12 millimeters, is that about that? That's close enough. Let me think. 4, 25.4, 12.5 plus 2, 12.7, 6.35, 3.172. Yeah, so 3.7 millimeters. I was wrong. I have no idea if I just did the math correct there. I'm distracting myself. Okay, so that area that I talk about, it's circular, and I've been spending a lot of time sort of focusing in on it, and so I in my mind's eye, I've got it circled. Now, I'm going to tell you something, and I've said this, I haven't actually posted this video yet. I'm working with a part of my body I call Alice. Alice is a workhorse, like Alice from, say, the Brady Bunch. And Alice has been locked back there, holding stuff together for years and years and years. Now, the whole Alice thing, it is a tool. When I'm thinking about Alice, when I'm thinking the word Alice, and I'm thinking about that part of my body, I'm forming a neural association in my brain. And so I'm basically making a quick shortcut to get a proprioceptive focus on a particular area of my body. So my body's in a certain state, and I start to think the word Alice as I'm focusing my mind's eye on a part of the body. If I keep doing that, the body's like, oh, I get it. Alice. It doesn't know what Alice is. It just knows that there's an electrical pattern that represents this idea I'm associating with another part of my body. And there you go. And really, if you think about it, the body is okay. First of all, I keep saying body. There's no mind body. All right. There's no frickin' separation. And forget emptiness. Forget emptiness. Let me go back to eating. I used to be fat and I ate carbs all the time. And then I did a ketogenic diet. Now, who cares about that? I lost weight. This is the thing that freaked me out. 3 months, actually, I lost a bunch of weight. And then 3 months after I had lost the weight, and so 9 months, say, I was in the airport like I always am. And I just noticed that I wasn't worried about getting a bag of chips and a Coke before getting on a flight. I just didn't care. And I had a mild panic and anxiety, just mild anxiety. And the thing is, it was so common that it's like, oh yeah, I've got to get my Coke. Oh yeah, I've got to get my bag of chips. Didn't even think about it. And so basically I was jacking up my sugar and my blood sugar all the time. And once I stopped doing that, I reduced my inflammation. Okay, now I've really got my back very stretched. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ignore that clock. I'm going to take my hand and put it on the ground. My other hand is holding everything. I'm going to lock my arm out. I really don't want my back to move at all right now. And now, your results may vary. I have to be really careful because my back is completely functional or dysfunctional. I don't care. But it has a certain set of constraints. And if I ignore those constraints, I do so at my own peril. So I got to work with what I got. Notice a little discomfort, not a lot of discomfort. My back doesn't hurt. I notice it. Doesn't do anything, doesn't debilitate me. Occasionally it does. It's gotten a lot better. But, oh yeah, feels great. Okay, now, yeah, that whole area right here, this whole area is just loose, loose, loose. So I've helped my body loosen apart. So the brain is coming down one side, is sampling, are you there? Can I connect yet? And I'm stretching from the other side, and I'm hoping eventually, maybe in another 6 months, a year, for things to happen. And I'm not in any hurry because I don't care about the results so much as I care about the process, because the side effects of the process are I can move my body, I can get in and out of the car. So I have the desire or a preference to work on, get my back better. And that's just giving me direction. It's not a goal. It's kind of a more heuristic. I'm not saying don't set goals, but I'm saying that if you instead reward yourself for supportive habits instead of goals, you're going to get a lot different results. Okay, now next one, press alarms on the ground. On my stomach, I'm going to cross my arms one in front of the other. And I'm going to be right here by Kitty, okay? Hi, Kitty. Going to join me? Okay. And 5-minute timer, right arm in front of left, stretch the hands apart. So the right hand goes to the left hand goes to right. Chin down. Okay, on this pose, it's awkward. It's not too bad, but it's awkward. It takes a while to get used to be able to even talk or even have your chin like this. You get better. But there's a whole bunch of other stuff going on. Right now, I'm actually putting a little bit of stress, not uncomfortable stress, on my neck. This is really good for your neck. So I put a little pressure on a muscle, hold it for a while, let go. The muscle responds typically looser. You're reducing the tensile strength, or not the tensile strength, sorry. Well, yeah, actually, but you're reducing the resting tension. When you reduce the muscle's resting tension, guess what? You're using less ATP. You're shutting down unnecessary utilization. That's it. You're going around your house turning off light switches. So right now, right now, the way I'm holding my shoulders apart, I can feel on my left side. I would say if you think about a clock, about 7 o'clock on the clock is about where I'm feeling it now. It's maybe 7 and 8 o'clock. And I'm feeling that muscle on the edge of where I've got that real tightness. Got to cramp my left foot. There, that will take care of it. I find with my feet, if I start to get a cramp, if I pull the foot backward, dorsiflex it, it tends to help. You can also do trigger point massage or just PNF on it. I did start it. Oh, yeah. Man, really stretched the outside of the arms as well. Here we go. Second round, left arm in front of right. Do set an alarm on this one. I wasn't asleep there, but it's pretty easy to fall asleep on this pose. Once you get used to doing it, it's very comfortable. I think because I am so comfortable doing this, I end up sleeping on my stomach. See, can fall asleep. Okay, now while I was doing that, I was thinking I was going to do one more intermediate pose. Not intermediate, in the middle of pose. Let's see. Do I have those pillows down here? There's one. Okay, I think that'll work. Now I'm not certain. I either want to do a version of bridge or noodle. I'm going to do noodle. So a noodle, what I'm trying to do is, if you take a look at this pillow, I'm trying to line it up just below the shoulder blade. So it's actually pretty high up. And what that helps is, it helps you sort of arch your back. And now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to have my hands pointing back. And when you do that, it really opens up the chest. If you cannot hold your hands back, I do this. Put my hands together and then cup my head in it. Problem with that is it deepens the pose. It makes it a lot. It actually makes it more intense, but it does protect your neck, and I have to protect my neck. In addition to my back being messed up from the train bridge fall, my neck is messed up from whiplash. And again, it's fine. I mean, I manage it, but if I don't manage it, it manages me. So I can either pay down the, if you will, pain debt. I'm amortizing pain over time by submitting myself to discomfort to allow myself the freedom of no pain. So I can either have a little bit of discomfort when I choose, or pain and debilitation when I'm not able to choose. And really, one of the things is, my pain and the tightness of my muscles is related to my nervous system. So when I was big, fat, I ate a lot of sugar, I was always inflamed, and I got headaches daily, took Advil daily. I got migraines twice a week because I traveled every week. So imagine, I traveled 44 weeks a year. I got migraines 88 times a year. I went from that to, I think I've taken Advil recently. No, in fact, so the Paradox Diaries started, I don't know how, like maybe 40 days ago. And 9 days before that, I got bit in the thumb by a cat bite, which started, 9, 10, 11 days before that, I got bit by a cat. And that caused me to shake because I wanted to increase my blood flow. And then there was a cascade of just amazing, amazing, amazing health benefits. And, at this point, I'm just, whatever, it just works. Don't care. I mean, I do care, but I'm kind of like, I don't need any evidence. I'm just going to do it until I find something that works better. Okay, I'm right now, I'm a little bit, I need to go a little bit higher. There we go. Okay. Oh, that's perfect right there. Okay. I'm not going to time this. I'm just going to do it. I'm just seeing if this is something I want to do for a little bit. Ooh. A little bit higher. Nope, that's not right. Not quite right. Oh, that's good. I am dealing with really tender stuff right now. I've got to be really careful. In fact, I come out just a touch, because I think here I want to be at a 4, maybe a 5. I do not want. You got to really, and I guess I could say, or I can just tell this is tender. It's been tender since 1983. Actually, it's been locked since 1983. It's been tender for the last year or so. Okay, I'm going to stop right here. If you stay in this pose much longer, it's already awkward to get out, but it's even more so. Wow, yeah, that's about as much about as I'm. Ooh, yeah, gotta be careful coming out of this for me. Again, my back is, I gotta be tender, gotta be careful with that pose. Now with the next pose, it's far more intense in many respects, but it's easier for me. Oh, look out, Kitty. I'm gonna move this, yeah? Okay, but before I do that, let's give Mr. Chesh a few moments. Come here. Are you gonna rub on that instead? This is going so much better. This is the spot that we had to get shaved because he got an abscess from the same attack. There we go. So you're doing pretty well. I'm doing pretty well, aren't you? Okay. Last pose. I'm going to put my head against the wall. I'm going to reach up on the wall, and I'm going to hold on. But before I do that, I'm going to lick my hands. Just brush my hand. I just brush my hands. I brush my teeth. My hands are sticky. The reason that's important is this is, if you start sliding, it hurts. That's it. And actually, it's more than hurts. You can really do some serious damage. All these poses are, I mean, the intense poses, you can certainly hurt yourself on. That's why you need to work your way up slowly, figure out what works for you, and then learn to listen to your body so you don't hurt yourself. And that's 100% on you. The incentive is you don't get hurt. And the second incentive is you get to live your life without as much pain. At least that's my incentive. Okay. Oh, wow. That little bit of noodle, it's hitting right where it needs to hit. Okay, I'm going to stop this pose for a second. I'm going to redo this pose. I specifically wanted to measure. Oh, yeah, it's already a big hit. The effect on my nervous system. And I'm going to hit reset real here. And that, did I get that? Yep, I did. Okay. I want to be able to compare the HRV data, the raw data, not the calculated value, but the values used to calculate the value. And I want to specifically know what this pose does to me. I love this pose, but I believe I'm going to be, I don't remember what it's called, but I suspect I will have my sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous dual engaged. It is a state where you put your body in great distress and you control your breath. So your body is having to turn up the steam to support whatever you're doing, but you're staying calm. And if you do that long enough, you get your brain into a superfluid state, and it starts to be able to do wave processing as opposed to linear processing, because you're turning up the juice but down the noise. And this is not me making up stuff. This is neuroscience. So when you hear of these quantum computers, the quantum computers are attempting to model themselves off of our brains. So you have a qubit. Well, a neuron, I don't know the exact number. Let's say a neuron is 250 qubits. So far, we've got, what, 4 qubits? So I said a neuron. I'm going to guess. Let's see. Billion neurons, 250 qubits. So 250 billion neurons. I'm probably way under. But actually, let's say that's the right number of neurons. Each neuron has 1,000 connections. That still sounds too small. But we got 4 qubits, so we're good. When people talk about a psychedelic experience and getting downloads, what's happening is, well, one possible thing is the psychedelics calm the default mode network and actually turn down the noise. It calms you down. Your brain starts to do wave processing, and then you start, because of the altered brain state, start to establish connections to nodes that don't normally get connected. and your brain's in a lucid state, but also it's in a kind of a slightly altered state, and as a result is able to make connections, and those connections become downloads. And the reason they're sometimes hard to understand is they don't make any sense. They're just random connections in the brain that are profound, quote, profound. Guess what? You can do it. I'm all for psychedelics. That this actually accomplishes something similar. This plus shaking. And then some meditation. This is a trip. If you add THC, bigger trip. And I can feel my frontal cortex tightening up a little bit. Okay, I'm going to curl my toes under just slightly. That's going to push my chest open just a little bit, slightly change the angle, and deepen the pose just a little bit. And for me, it hits exactly where I want it to hit. Ooh, I'm pulling. Okay, on my right hand, there is a feeling of a pull in the meat of the palm. Like, oh, man. Okay, now I'm going to push up at my stomach, take the pressure off one arm, use it to support the other arm or my body, torso, as I move the other arm down. Oh, yeah. And then I've just been stretching my back in one way. I'm now going to do a turtle back. You can do it this in another way. I'm going to show this from here. So I've got my hands on the ground. I'm going to push my hands down and then push my shoulder back. I'm actually pushing the middle of my shoulder back, between my shoulders. And there we go. And now I think I'm going to switch modes. Now I'm going to finish this differently. I'm going to finish with just a little breath work. And actually, I'm just going to slowly breathe. I don't need to actually concentrate on my breath because I practice 5-5 breathing. So that's my kind of default pattern. And if the kitty is being calm, I can pet him, and it's parasympathetic. It's parasympathetic anyway because of the connection, but if he breaks my balance, it's a bit noisy, so I just won't pet him, but he's being calm, so I can pet him. And this is just incorporating your noise around you into your practice. I used to yell at him, and I've gotten a little bit better at not yelling at him. But there are some poses I can't have him around. Calm or not, if you know the possibility of a random event can actually do damage to your body, like if he just flops on me when I'm in a deep pose, then I won't allow that to happen. So, because he's a cat. So I accept the fact that he's a cat. Cats do what cat things do. And so I can either be disappointed and allow him to hurt myself, or I can realize actually this situation is not a situation where I want to take that risk, close the door or push him away gently. So here we go. Yeah. That's right, buddy.